So for the devotee, the Amrit is not the Amrit of moksha, it's the Amrit of pure love for Radha and Krishna. That's the Amrit. Okay, so those devotees are actually preaching Lord Chaitanya's message. They're experiencing that. They're actually, better than any of the yogis going there. So yes, devotees can go there and bathe, but the real thing is to engage in chanting Hare Krishna and to serve Lord Chaitanya's movement, which the devotees are doing today. And that's glorious. We should actually respect the devotees who are doing that great austerity. They have these huge Maha kitchens set up where they're serving what, 50, 100,000 people a day. It's amazing. Prashadam. And what to say of Pravachar and distributing books and Harinam Sankirtan? This is the key. We actually understand what is that Amrit that Dhanvantari is holding. And it's not the Amrit of impersonal moksha, which is basically 90% or 95% of the people that go there. They think that's the Amrit, is impersonal moksha. So it's our duty to teach. That is part of Sanatana Dharma, but it's not the full understanding. And that's why Mayavadi philosophy is so much difficult to deal with, because the Mayavadi thinks that impersonal moksha is the absolute goal of spiritual obtainment. And whereas the devotees say, yes, it is a bona fide level of God consciousness, but it is the beginning stages of God consciousness. Go further, develop it, deepen your love. It's not that the Mayavadi would say that everything is illusion, including Krishna. And the devotee can't stand to hear that you are Krishna. You merge, you achieve your moksha by merging into Krishna or merging into Brahman. That's the standard understanding of Hinduism. So we don't follow that. We're not Hindus. Yes, sometimes we identify ourselves as Hindus because it's sometimes practical, but we should understand we're not Hindus. We're developing our love for Radha and Krishna, which is non-sectarian, which is not delegated to some realm of Hindu theology. It's non-sectarian. It's meant for everyone. So anyway, so in this way, yeah, so much can be said about the pastime of churning the milk ocean, Samudra Manthan, and how that applies to Krishna consciousness. It's all there in the 8th canto, Bhagavatam, and practically now it's going on. And yes, it's all very auspicious, but devotees need not go there. They need not go there. If they want to go there, they can go there. But my suggestion is, if they go there, they're not going there to take a bath. They're going there to give Krishna consciousness, to participate in the Harinam, to go into the kitchen and cut up vegetables, to participate in preaching Lord Chaitanya's mission. That makes you a better yogi than anyone there.
Very nicely said, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, very beautiful. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
That's the essence of Krishna consciousness, to be engaged in devotional service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could be doing that at the Manor. You can be doing that in Soho Street. You can be doing that in any 850 ISKCON temples around the world, following Prabhupada's instructions. So there's many great bhakti yogis around the world that are better than the 400 million yogis that are going to the Kumbh Mela. It's all right they go. It is a part of a long-range process of purification, so that in the future they can get a better situation. We can actually take up Lord Chaitanya's movement. But we see things from a different conception, that the real essence is Lord Chaitanya, the Goswamis, and developing pure love for Radha and Krishna. That's the Amrit.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
I was just talking to you on the same note that you mentioned, Prabhuji, to follow the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. When I was talking to Keshu Maharaj, he said the same thing. When the devotees come just show them all these beautiful pictures of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu around and explain to them the philosophy, so that when they come, it's just not they're just coming and taking a darshan and going, but to understand the philosophy behind.
And that's exactly. But the problem is, it seems that in Kali Yuga, yeah, people are philosophical, but not that many. I tell you the truth. Most people are sentimental, or they're yes, I want to follow my dharma. I'm a Hindu, but they don't know what it is. They don't know. They don't know Bhagavad Gita, what to say of Srimad Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita. So they're following, but it's up to us somehow or other to elevate them, to make it more relevant and practical in their lives, so they can come closer to ISKCON, closer to Prabhupada, get a set of Prabhupada books, set an altar up, offer their food, associate with the devotees, gradually, come to the platform where they want to get initiated and actually become a solid member of the Hare Krishna movement. So these things take time, sometimes many lifetimes, but it's the beginning.
It's just, for some, it could be just the beginning that they're hearing, and they could be catching up again in the next life. But for some people, they take it.
So some Naga Baba is there at the Kumbh Mela, and he gets a plate of prasadam from a Hare Krishna devotee. And next lifetime, who knows? He'll be, born as, in a Hare Krishna devotee family. He's a Naga Baba now, but because he hears the holy name and gets some prasadam, then in the next lifetime, you get the opportunity to read Prabhupada's books, something like that. I mean, I'm speculating, but the idea is it's a cumulative effect. And for us, we're trying to practice Krishna consciousness, go back to Godhead in this lifetime. But we know quite well, for many people, it's actually a multiple lifetime endeavor.
Absolutely, Prabhuji. We had to be very clear about what's our goal and what's our end goal. And that you can understand only from reading Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna, many people, they just think Krishna, is it an inspirational book? It's a motivational book. But the whole idea is Krishna is just thrilling to the Bhagavad Gita, lead your life in a certain way, elevate your consciousness and come back to me. And
it is all those things. It's a motivational book. It's a psychological book. Some people said it's Krishna Arjuna is like the first psychotherapy session. You could say it's all these things. But what's the goal? What's actually being communicated is his topmost spiritual knowledge, going back to the spiritual world.
Exactly. I mean, the beauty about reading the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhuji, every time as you keep reading, your realizations keep changing, and as your consciousness is purified, your realizations are also constantly elevated. Trying to understand what's Krishna's message in this year. When you read it this year, you'll find Krishna's message in a different way.
So,
next, you
exactly.
find
So we don't condemn Kumbh Mela. They're going there to becoming, at least in their minds, are becoming free from sinful activities at the very minimum. Well, that's a good thing. That means they can ultimately take to Krishna consciousness better.
Yes, Prabhuji. Because life is a journey of elevating your consciousness in some form or the other. And Krishna gives different opportunities, where this is one of the opportunities for them to just purify the mind. So at least if they can take this opportunity, maybe from there, it will be easier for them to elevate the consciousness, because in this material world with all the three gunas, it's very difficult to cross. Krishna himself says, Mama Maya Duratya. It's very difficult to cross.
I'm personally very happy to see over, my many decades in Krishna consciousness, how now India and Indian spiritual culture is becoming relevant in the world, and being put in, devotees on different levels are being put into positions of incredible political power. India is increasing in its worldwide influence economically, culturally, and specifically spiritual culture. And much of that spiritual culture has to do with what ISKCON is doing. Of course, Narendra Modi is there. He's doing great things with ISKCON too. But he's a politician. He associates with all the different organizations. But the point is, Indian spiritual culture, political influence, economic influence, geopolitical standing in the world is growing like crazy, especially in the last 10 years. And that's a positive sign, especially for us trying to spread the message of Lord Chaitanya in the Western world. Very difficult. Most people still don't know who Lord Chaitanya is. Or if they do think of Lord Chaitanya, they minimize him. Oh, he was a great medieval, Krishna Bhakta, and that's about it.
Yeah, absolutely, Prabhuji. I mean, I think for people who are already in Krishna consciousness, it's easy to explain about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but for a person who has totally zero knowledge about, or who has just been ritualistic, not spiritual, for such kind of a person to tell them, to elevate them to the point of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could be just like bonkers for them. like, oh, first of all, we don't know much about Krishna, and now again you're saying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then you're saying Nityananda. So it's all about how we present it, in order to encourage.
How about we present it? We don't want to turn people off. We don't want to be arrogant, but at the same time, we have to encourage people. Okay, this is where you're at in terms of your understanding of Sanatana Dharma. Now, go deeper. Yes. And after a few months, tell them again, go deeper. And okay, whatever it is, wherever you're at, go deeper.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. With your inspiration and with your support for us, we are doing everything best we can. In manner also, like we literally, this one of the thing which I do over the weekend, Naraj Prabhu and myself, we are always there, and we're kind of like elevating people and just telling them a bit about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, explaining the Panchatattva and things like that. At least give them a brief idea. That
I mean, to us, this is basic things, but for them, it's like many of them they have no conception of Chaitanya, Panchatattva. Yeah.
Absolutely. To tell them that why we're chanting is because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So for them, they're like, oh my God, we didn't know that we were chanting because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it's just like, it's kind of like a nice opportunity to serve in some way, to spread about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as well, Prabhuji. With your guidance, and when I just think about it, you've been during the time of Prabhupada and you've seen how the developments have been going on. There could be some ups and downs here and there and things like that. But I think overall, you're happy.
Overall, you're happy with. I call it the roller coaster ride.
And just one more point, Prabhuji. So just in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami says, so generally people, they appreciate the Lord's creation, maintenance, and destruction. But devotees, that they are qualified to go more deep into the relationship with the Lord. So saying that Sukadeva Goswami says, Ittam bhavena katito bhagavan bhagavattamah na ittam bhavena hi param drashtum arhanti surayaha. They are more qualified to enter into the pastimes of the Lord. They are surayaha. But whereas the other people, they're simply satisfied with the creation, how maintain destruction, about the Lord's external manifestations. But devotees are qualified for more than that. So this Sukadeva Goswami statement, that is where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's this deep, the mood and mellows, the moods that will come into the picture.
Absolutely. And I always believe, Prabhuji, this knowledge can be revealed, especially to the Western world and to all the people who do not know us. The only biggest platform is ISKCON. Hare Krishna Moment. This is the platform of knowledge. This is the platform of distribution of books and everything. So this is the only platform which can really do in such a large scale to enlighten people. It just requires people at the front end to articulate. And because you have the best philosophy, you have the best books, you have everything. It's just about articulating our philosophy to reach out to the wider audience. It's all about that. And this, which is what ISKCON is a great opportunity to do this service for all of us, like get inspiration from senior devotees like you, and just serve in whichever way in spreading this knowledge of Krishna consciousness. Because otherwise, when you meet people from the outside world, you find people coming up with their own concepts of God and about the goal of life, and it really boggles your mind. You can't even explain to them. They are such level of Krishna.
See, Hinduism is very special because actually in Hinduism, everyone's their own religion.
Everybody can speak that.
You can say any damn thing you want. It's like, that's good. That's nice.
Different parts. This thing. But again, that's a beauty also, that we don't put anyone under that kind of a pressure that this is the only way, my only way, and we have different paths, which it's all about just elevating our consciousness by way of knowledge. But the good part is, unlike we have all the four, even though we have four sampradayas, but one thing which is very good is Bhagavad Gita is kind of like is common across all the
It's
sampradayas.
common.
Everybody
It crosses
glorifies
over.
Bhagavad
It
Gita. So
crosses
that's the
over.
beauty about it.
Yeah.
So,
But if you want to understand Bhagavatam, ultimately, you have to look through the works of the Goswamis. See, that's our advantage. Chaitanya was a devotional mystic, but it was his disciples who really elaborated, commented on, and codified the philosophy that's in the Bhagavatam. So yes, Bhagavad Gita, as Prabhupada would say, ABCs. It's a good. You have to start somewhere, and that unifies much of Sanatana Dharma. Although, as we know, there's different interpretations. But above and beyond that, if they want to understand the real essence of spiritual life, they have to go to the Bhagavatam. They have to.
absolutely. That's the only way you can come out of this material world and go back to Krishna Loka. Absolutely.
And to go to the Bhagavatam without going through the Goswamis is a waste of time.
Yeah, that is. And on that point that you mentioned, I always am very fascinated about linking Bhagavad Gita to Bhagavatam and to see how practically it's applied in. So I feel Bhagavatam is like an applied spiritual science of what Krishna is actually mentioning in Bhagavad Gita. So in Krishna says, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti chakradeha janma naiti mameti sorjana. He says, like, one who understands my divine appearance and my leelas and my karma, whatever the karma that Krishna does, those people, they are the most fortunate because they will not again come back into this material world, but they will go back to Krishna Loka. So indirectly, so that we can understand that people where do we learn about Krishna's appearance? Only in Bhagavatam. So Krishna, through Bhagavad Gita, telling us that only by reading Bhagavatam, you will not again go back into the womb of another mother, because that's it. This is the end of your material life. You go back to Krishna Loka. No more coming back. And it was very nice. Amrendra Prabhu, I was just listening to his this thing, and he said, Prabhupada asked, which is the best verse in Bhagavad Gita? And when everybody quoted different verses, finally Prabhupada said, no, this is the best verse in Bhagavad Gita, Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam, because through this verse, Krishna is giving us an opportunity that if you listen to Krishna Katha, Hari Katha, you will not again come back into this material world and again go through this cycle of birth, death, old age, disease. No more of all this. So that's the best one.
No, I like that. That verse leads directly to the Bhagavatam. That's correct. Yeah.
That Bhagavatam, yeah. So I always get fascinated when I see how things are so well linked up in Bhagavad Gita and how it is practically we can apply that in Bhagavatam, which is, we are very fortunate. Again, we are in the association of devotees. That's what we are doing, listening to Bhagavatam in the association of devotees, Prabhuji, like you, our senior devotees. Prabhuji, on that note, if with your permission, maybe we can do an invocation and then just be a bit of...
Yeah. I mean, you can speed through all the invocation if you want. We've spent 25 minutes just discussing preliminary stuff.
I will just do a quick one, and then I will directly do a bit of quick kirtan, and then we go into the Prabhuji. Just a 2 minutes one.
Okay.
Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Ganchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshware Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimadi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namin Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachanini Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pashata Deshtarini Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasudi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girvaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Rishmi and Hemal Prabhuji, welcome to our Sangha. Induleka Mataji, thank you for joining us. Shin Prabhu, thank you for joining us. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Very beautiful, Ketan Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Always a joy to sing for devotees.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So happy to have your association. Let me share our Krishna book. Oh, wonderful. So last week we were just covering this beautiful chapter. We always seen that Bhagavatam, and especially the canto number 10, which is the Krishna book, is full of nectar. It always amazes me. I always surprise the people in our Manor temple, and I ask them, like, you all know about Facebook, but have you heard about Krishna book? And everybody says, no, we have never heard about Krishna book. What is this Krishna book? And then I tell them, like, this Krishna book is a beautiful collection of all the divine leelas which have been taken from Bhagavatam, and then explain what's the difference between Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So it's wonderful. It's full of nectar. And as we just now, we were discussing about it, that listening to Harikatha is so auspicious that Krishna is giving the highest benediction that whoever listens to Harikatha, they will not again come back into the womb of another mother. And this is what the whole significance, like everybody, if you really look at it, they don't want to come back into this one. They want moksha so that they can come out of this circle of by life and death. This is the one other thing. If everybody, even though they may not understand about the higher planetary system, they may not understand about the material world and the spiritual world, somewhere in the mind, they've been taught that mukti is the most important thing, liberation, to come out of this cycle. But here, Krishna is promising not only the mukti, but Krishna is promising that you will come out of this circle, you will get complete mukti, and towards the end of life, you will also get the bhakti of Krishna, and you'll be in the association of Krishna. We'll get back our original spiritual body. What to speak about even coming out of this material world. So when Krishna is giving us such a big benediction of listening to Harikatha, which is full of nectar, in fact, Krishna says towards the end of our life, if we remember Krishna, whomever we remember towards the end of our life, Yanti Deva Vrata Devan, Pitri Yanti Pritivata, Bhutani Yanti Bhuteja, Yanti Maj Yajimo. Krishna says, if you're thinking of people who think of the demigods, they will go to the planet of the demigods. Towards the end of the life, you're thinking about your ancestors, you go to the planet of the ancestors. And if you're thinking of ghosts and spirit, you will be born again among them. But whoever is thinking of me, they will always remain with me in Krishna Loka. So what to speak? So it's very, very clear we have to understand the significance that if we remember Krishna towards the end of our life, that we go back to Krishna Loka. But to do that, we have to develop this love for Krishna throughout our life. Only then we will be able to remember towards the end of our life. And how can we always think of Krishna? Only if we really look at it practically in this material world, we'll think about anyone only when we have love for them. So a mother is always thinking about her children when she's working because there's love for them. So unless the common factor is love, we can never think about any particular person, whether it's a wife thinking about a husband, or mother thinking about the children, or anyone for that matter. Only wherever there's love, we think about them. If somebody is very fond of money, wealth, towards the end of the life, he'll only be thinking about this. If he's attached to his house, he's only begun thinking about his house. So like that, it's very important through Krishna consciousness, we are understanding that wherever our consciousness is at the time of death, so that is where we go up our next life. So we have to understand that how important is this in this life, human life. It is so precious to develop the love for Krishna. And how can we develop love for Krishna? By listening to Krishna Katha. Only that way we can fall in love with Krishna, to see how beautiful Krishna is, to see how Krishna, why Krishna is called as the Supreme Bhagavan, that his unlimited strength, unlimited beauty, unlimited opulences, unlimited renunciation, everything in unlimited. So, so not to be taken. The most important to understand is, as Krishna says, Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam, that everything that has got to do with Krishna is transcendental, spiritual, on a spiritual platform, not to be misunderstood on a material platform. So that will happen only when we elevate our consciousness and discuss about Krishna Katha in the association of devotees. That's the reason why it is important to chant also along with reading Hari Katha, because as we keep chanting, our consciousness get purified. And in that purified mind, we will be able to develop love for Krishna. So in this particular chapter, talks between Krishna and Rukmini, we have seen like how we covered to some extent. We talked about how Krishna wanted to annoy Rukmini a bit to see like how she is in an angry mood and how she's going to reciprocate to him and things like that. We've seen that when Satyabhama was given this Parijata and Rukmini was very, when Rukmini had a Parijata flower, and then Satyabhama requested for that, and Krishna took it from Indraloka and things like that. We covered all that. But at the same time, Krishna was very keen to see how Rukmini is going to respond when she's a bit envious. So in order to create that enviousness, and Krishna being the perfect mischievous, there's so many beautiful traits of Krishna. When he was very small, he was so mischievous. He was playing with the monkeys. In fact, one of the name of Krishna is Kapindra, he's master of all the monkeys. When he was playing, with the as a Bala Gopala, and so all these mischiefs were there when he was as a small boy, playing pranks and breaking the pot of yogurt and things like that. The butter was churning into butter and things like that. So many beautiful pastimes. But here, a part of this thing we can find here in this particular Leela, where Krishna is trying to, again, be a bit of mischievous and trying to test how Rukmini is going to react to that. And we've seen how Krishna is like kind of downplaying to Rukmini, and he's trying to kind of instill, kind of like provoke her to see what's going to be her reaction. And he tried in many, many ways to tell Rukmini, I'm not worthy of you. I'm just an ordinary, very inferior person. You have done a big mistake by marrying me. Just think about it, just comparing Sushpal and Jarasandha and all of that. I'm nowhere in comparison, and I do not know what's my goal of life. And you can see that, people think like I don't have any aim of life and things like that. You see what kind of a person I am. I just went and married 16,000 wives. I had 16,000 queens I went and married. And I don't have any position. Even when I went Dwarka, I'm not the one who owns it. Even when I was a small child, I was there as a son of Nanda Maharaj, but he is the one who owned all the cows. It's not me. I don't own anything at all. I was afraid of Jarasandha, and I built up a city like Dwarka because I was afraid of them. So Krishna was literally downplaying everything. And in a way, he was proposing to Rukmini indirectly, like, trying to tell that he's very inferior. And he's kind of provoking Rukmini, telling her that, Rukmini, why did you do? You are a daughter of a great king like Bhishmaka. But what's the kind of decision that you're taking? I think you have not taken the right decision. And he's almost like implying that he wants to, that Rukmini should divorce him, actually, at a time when they have grown up children. We've seen also earlier in the chapters where he had Pradyumna as well. So we can see that all these things we have covered in the last chapter. And then Krishna is also saying that, you have to prepare yourself for the next life. So the best thing that is, it's never too late. Even now also, you can take the right decision to maybe think about marrying one of them. And he's telling about how all the people like Shishupala hate him to the core and things like that. And so Krishna was almost past his time with Rukmini, and Rukmini was being a bit proud. So it's very important, because what is each of these Leelas, we have to understand, like, what's the message that each of these Leelas are giving? Because if we dive deep, if you do scuba diving into the Krishna Kathas, we can just collect pearls of wisdom, pearls of knowledge, pearls of beautiful morals that we can take to light. One of the things is like, we seen earlier in the Krishna Leelas also, when the gopis were very proud that Krishna is always, every gopi was thinking that Krishna is always there with me and he is always there with me, and they were feeling very proud. And at that time, Krishna disappears. And then we all know the story, then the gopis are lamenting and they're crying and they sing this beautiful gopi geet, right? Jayati te dekam janmana. So we see that song and all the beautiful things that have happened. Why? Because they were feeling that pride that Krishna is always there with them. And then Krishna finally again appears. But Krishna wanted to teach them a lesson that that we should not be so proud or feel proud about yourself, because sometimes you feel like, Krishna is in my hands and he's at my beck and call and he's always there with me. When they had that pride, so Krishna does certain leelas to make them aware, make them alert that because we have divine qualities, we have demoniac qualities. And Krishna is very keen that all his devotees always have divine qualities of humility and humbleness and always having that longing to see Krishna and things like that. So here, similarly, we can find that as Sukadeva Goswami is remarking that Krishna was almost past most of his time with Rukmini. So as we know that Krishna married the five queens in the previous chapter, then he also married Satyabhama, and 16,000 queens as well. So, but in spite of all of them, we understand through Sukadeva Goswami that Krishna spent most of his time with Rukmini. And Rukmini was a bit proud that, she's so fortunate that Krishna never left her for even a moment also. So there is a sense of pride that has gone into Rukmini's mind. Krishna, however, does not like any of his devotees to be proud. Okay. So I think, this is very, very important for us to understand that Krishna does not like any of his devotees to be proud. In fact, Krishna in Bhagavad Gita gives a list of 36 beautiful qualities which Krishna says, which make him very dear to his devotees. So if you want to be in the good books of Krishna, we have to understand, we have to almost like have a post-it notes of what is the divine qualities that Krishna likes in his devotees and start developing those qualities, nurturing those kind of qualities, which will make us very dear to Krishna. So one of the quality in order for us to develop, to get us very closer to Krishna is not to be very proud of ourselves, not to be very this thing. Because sometimes what happens is, I have literally seen that, when we feel that sometimes when I feel that, I'm a devotee, I'm in a certain position of devotee. And then sometimes when some volunteers come and they're doing some service, somewhere a little bit of pride sticks in and you start treating them unconsciously. You can't call it unconscious bias, like without unconsciously, you start treating the people like, okay, they're just volunteers. They're not initiative people, or they're not. Certain kind of a mindset may step in a mood of, in certain moods, like, having that a bit of pride. But Krishna, through these messages, through this Bhagavad Gita, through the Hare Katha, is saying that it's very important for the Krishna devotees to always be humble but not proud, to develop those divine qualities. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 36 qualities, Krishna says. Advesta sarva bhutana maitri karuna yevacha nirmamo nirahankara samadukka sukashami santusta satatam yogi yatatma drida nischayaha mayarpito mano buddhi mamivaisasya samsayaha. Krishna says the qualities that make me very, very close, bring my devotee very closer to me, someone who's not envious, a kind friend to all the living entity, who does not think himself as a proprietor, who's free from false ego, someone who's equipoised in happiness and distress, someone who's self-controlled, someone who's practicing bhakti life with full determination. Arjuna, such kind of a devotee is very, very dear to me, Krishna says. So this brought to me this in mind, like, it's very important that we have to nurture those beautiful qualities because that Krishna likes those qualities. We should keep those in our mind, post it in my mind and say, these are the qualities which Krishna can. Be very conscious that these are the qualities that I should nurture. And as soon as the devotee becomes so, by some tactic, he cuts down that pride. So Krishna also is reciprocating. Just like he says, Ye yata mam prapajyante tam stataiva bhajam. According to how much of devotion you show, I reciprocate accordingly. At the same time, when you are in a certain mood, when your mindset is being overcome from pride, as they say, pride comes before a fall. So Krishna also say, when he finds that his devotee, because devotees are very dear to Krishna, he also is reciprocating to make sure that he's cutting down the pride, so that they become better devotees, so that they become more humble, so that they can become closer to Krishna. In this case also, Krishna said many things which are very hard for Rukmini to hear. We see it, right? Krishna literally was tormenting Rukmini with so many things that, someone who was like so dedicated to Krishna, because again, we have to understand that Krishna and Rukmini, they have a very opulent, unlike like Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan, they're in the mood of devotion, they're in the mood of the village kind of ambience, and a simple village, Krishna were Radharani worshipping Krishna. But here, when you say about Krishna and Lord Krishna and Rukmini, they're in the mode of Lakshmi Narayana kind of opulence, right? And it's like full of opulences over there. But here, so it's very important. So Krishna is also reciprocating to that and just making sure that the devotees are set right. So in this case, Krishna said many things. Rukmini could not bear, actually. We'll get to know how Rukmini is going to be giving her side of the story. She could only conclude that although she was proud of her position, Krishna could not be separated from her at any moment. So Rukmini is very clear. So even though Krishna was trying to discourage Rukmini at any cost so that she is going to change her mind, sometimes it's very interesting. One of the devotees, one of the journalists asked one of the senior ISKCON devotee, they said, "Oh, you ISKCON people, your Hare Krishna movement, you're always brainwashing. Don't you accept that you're brainwashing?" And the devotee, Amoga Prabhu, actually very nicely said, "Yes, we are brainwashing. Your brain has become so dirty, itna ganda ho gaya, and hum free mein saaf kar rahe, that with freely we are just washing, and we are deliberately brainwashing so that your mind is purified. We are not denying that we don't brainwash. We are brainwashing because your mind has become so dirty that freely we are kind of brainwashing you so that your mind gets purified." So it's a very interesting answer, I thought. So here, you can find that Krishna is kind of like literally trying to brainwash Rukmini and trying to put her down or discourage her, as to tell her that she is taking a wrong direction of finding. But Rukmini was very conscious that her husband was not an ordinary human being. So we can see that throughout the Krishna Katha, right from the beginning, you can see right from Vasudeva, you can hear from Devaki, Nanda Maharaj, and all of them, they're all elevated souls. I mean, just imagine they were all being born in these certain positions to serve Krishna. So we can imagine what kind of elevated souls they are, right? They are all like not ordinary people. The Vasudeva and Devaki, they are like been doing tapasa from thousands and thousands of years to have Krishna as their son. And so we can imagine they're not ordinary people, and everybody was very elevated in the spiritual consciousness. Even Vasudeva was giving a big long lecture to spiritual lecture to Kamsa, even though it didn't go into his head. But that's an important thing, right? Even though Duryodhana was there, they were all covered by Maya. Aham sarvasya yogamaya samavrita. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrita. Krishna covers, except for his devotees, he covers everybody else who are not his devotees by his yogamaya. So, but Rukmini is above. She is the goddess of fortune. And she's conscious that Krishna is not an ordinary human being. He was the supreme Lord, the master of all the three worlds. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. Krishna says, I am the supreme enjoyer of all the sacrifices. I am the Lord of all the planets. Not only material, but even spiritual also. Aham sarvasya prabhu mata sarvam pravartate. He says, I am the Lord of all the spiritual and material worlds also. And the beauty is, Krishna himself tells in Bhagavad Gita, and a devotee like Yudhishthira is asking Bhishma Pitama when he's dying on a bow of arrows, even Bhishma says the same thing. Jagat Prabhum Devadevam Anantam Purushottamam Stabannama Sahasrena Sotumichitipa. So Krishna, even Bhishma is saying the same thing. Jagat Prabhum Devadevam. He is the God of all the gods. And which is what Krishna, and even Rukmini also acknowledges, that she knows that he is not ordinary. He is the supreme Lord of all the lords. And by the way he was speaking, she was afraid of being separated from the Lord. So these are the very important to understand through the devotees. Because in the material world, everybody is afraid of losing his wealth. He's afraid of losing his close relatives, or losing his family, or losing all his opulences, losing his job. We are all afraid of all the material things. But here you can find Rukmini the divine counterpart of Krishna. She is only afraid of losing Krishna. For she has never heard of such, because, and by the way she was speaking, she was afraid of being separated from the Lord because she never heard some harsh words of Krishna. Can you imagine someone who has been with you all the life and suddenly they say, you know what, we've been here together for 50 years. Don't you think we have wasted our time? I think it's not worth it. Why don't you just get separated now? But in the material world, actually, it is not such a strange thing, isn't it? We find people, like people getting separated later in the years also, right? We have such kind of scenarios also. We know of people like that in manner who got divorced at the age of like in his 60s, in his late 60s or mid 60s, like that. I mean, that's not the age to get. And he was totally in depression, coming to the manor and just kind of like pouring his heart out and doing service. And I said, Prabhu, you are doing the right thing, because people, when they get divorced at the age of 60, and they may just land up going somewhere else, they may get drunk or they may do so many things, but you are come to the mandir and you're serving here. So you come to the right place. So we are all bounded by karma. We don't know why certain things are happening. But if anything is happening in our life, which is taking us to the lotus feet of Krishna, then that's good for us. because if you are covered with all the opulences, if you are covered with all these material things, you will never think about Krishna in such a deep way. But when you are in problem, when you are in pain, your prayers to Krishna are very, very sincere. They're very deep, because there's so much sincerity in those prayers, asking for forgiveness and asking for surrender and things like that. So here we can see that Rukmini was very perplexed. She was feeling, she never heard such words coming from Krishna, because Krishna was very, the 64 qualities of Krishna. Krishna was always very gentle in his speech and things like that. But he was just testing her to see what's her reaction. But Rukmini became very perplexed with fear of separation, and heart began to palpitate. So you can see so this is the mood of what we are studying now, is the mood of a devotee, mood of someone who's serving Krishna, that her heart was palpitating to even think of the sight of losing Krishna. So we had this, Krishna is called all attractive. And right from the time when gopis were there, even the same situation with the gopis, right? When Akrura came and asked Krishna to come to Mathura because Kamsa is invited, the gopis' hearts were trembling. They were just like, with so much of grief, Krishna, no. And we had this beautiful picture, right? Where all the gopis are in manner. There's a beautiful picture where all the gopis, they're not allowing Krishna to go in the chariot. They were just pulling him back, like, no, you can't leave us and go. You can't leave us, please. You can't break our hearts like this. So that kind of a thing is continuing now here, even with Rukmini also, heart is beginning to palpitate. And without replying to the word of Krishna, she simply cried in great anxiety. So imagine the goddesses of fortune is always at the feet of Narayana. She's crying and is as if drowned in an ocean of grief. She silently scratched the floor with the toenails. See, so much of nectar in this Krishna Katha. We can see even the personal feelings and impressions, or the reactions of even the goddesses of fortune when she's interacting with the Supreme Lord of the universe, right? So she's silently scratching the floor with the toenails, which reflected the reddish light on the floor. But if you really think about it, don't you think this is how even the common human being, because this material world is a perverted reflection of what exactly happens in the spiritual world. So what are some of the mannerisms, some of the things that happen in the spiritual world, like what Rukmini is doing? This is not, isn't it the same way we react, like, when we are in anxiety and all that, we start, some people bite their nails, sometimes like they scratch the floor with the toenails. And, so all these things that are happening, which we can relate to, right? We can relate to in our personal life. And the tears from our eyes mixed with black cosmetic ointment from our eyelids and dropped in, washing the kunkuma and saffron from our breast. So we can see that how kind of eyes, just not like drops of eyes, but she's literally in tears, full of tears, that they literally, wash the kunkuma also. And choked on the account of great anxiety, unable to speak even a word, she kept her head down and remained standing just like a stick. See, so everybody changed, a lot of things change with generation after generation. We've seen how our grandparents were, and in the next generation, we've seen how our parents were. And now we feel the X generation, the latest generation, how they are changing. The values keep on changing over a period of time. But that is why it is very important to understand the level of loyalty, the level of love, the love of sincere love that was there in the ancient, in the Vedic culture. So that's why it is very important for us. Because Krishna consciousness is all about elevating our consciousness to the highest level of Krishna consciousness, because we were all originally Krishna conscious, but we have forgotten. And now this opportunity of listening to Harikatha and Bhagavad Gita is to revive our relationship with Krishna. It is an opportunity to revive our consciousness to the highest level and to understand that this is how the Vedic culture was. That, just imagine it today, if a husband says like that, and there could be situations like in a metropolitan, maybe the girl says, okay, you seem to be not interested, so I'm going, let's part ways, kind of thing. But you can see here how much of emotions and love were there invested by Rukmini, that over the way, it shows lights about the Vedic culture. Choked up on account of great anxiety and unable to even speak a word, she kept her head down and remained standing just like a stick. Due to extremely painful fear and lamentation, she lost all her power of reason and became weak, her body losing so much weight that the bangles on her wrist became slack. So we can see, right, so no matter what kind of when your mind becomes weak, when your mind becomes unable to bear the situations, you can find that the immediate effect is there on the body, right? So the body starts, you can see even Arjuna also, when he was there in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the first thing that started was his mind was totally disturbed, right? Karpanya dosho pahata swabhavaha pratyamatam dharma sammoda chetaha yashre yashan nishitan bruhitan me sisasteham sadimam tvam prapannam. Krishna, I'm totally confused about my duty. So the first effect, it came to his mind. He was totally confused in his mind. And then he says, I have lost my bodily composure. Because when your mind is impacted, it impacts your body also. I have lost my bodily composure and I have lost my weakness. My Gandiva is slipping from my hand. Arjuna, Krishna, please tell me what is the right thing for me to do. So it starts with the mind. So here we can see that because on account of this anxiety and the fear of separation from Krishna, this goes on to share through the bhakti, through the Harikatha, that this should be our greatest fear, that nobody should take away Krishna from our lives. This is the kind of a mood that we need to develop by hearing Harikatha. That Krishna consciousness is so beautiful that we should be worried that no materialistic friends should take away from Krishna Katha. We should take away from us from getting closer to Krishna. Nobody should take me away from doing my service for Krishna. So this is the mood that we will develop by hearing the Krishna Katha, by seeing such beautiful leelas happening here, because this is what Rukmini is lamenting. She doesn't want to be separated from Krishna. This is what we can learn, that this is how devotion should be, devotional service should be. We should always be worried more about, not about losing our wealth, losing our job, but worried about losing our service to Krishna. Choked on account of great anxiety, unable to even speak a word, she kept her head down and remained standing due to extremely painful fear, and she lost her power and became weak. So she lost so much of weight that the bangles on her wrist became slack. The chamara by which she was serving Krishna immediately fell down from her. Just like Arjuna's Gandiva was slipping from his hand, here you can find that the chamara with which she was serving Krishna, even that fell down from her hand. You can see the similarities when the devotees, when they are in lamentation. But both the lamentations of Arjuna and Rukmini were happening in the presence of Krishna. This is on a different level. This is about the beautiful pastimes of Krishna with his loving devotees. That is the beautiful things about here. And she lost, her brain and memory got puzzled and she lost consciousness. Can you imagine how much Rukmini has been tormented by the words of Krishna, that she lost consciousness? The nicely combed hair on her head scattered here and there, and she fell down straight like a banyan tree cut down by the whirlwind. Just imagine a big tsunami kind of thing comes, even a banyan tree, nothing can stand, right? It just falls down. So like that, with the tsunami of words that were coming across from Krishna, they were just breaking her heart that she couldn't withstand at all, and she just dropped out and losing her consciousness. Lord Krishna immediately realized that Rukmini has not taken his words in a jokingly spirit. Now Krishna could understand that, Rukmini is not, because, sometimes what happens is, in order to test our friends, we try to be in the mood of sarcasm, or we try to test the person. Let's see how his reaction is and things like that. We may do it in a jokingly spirit because we have a sense of humor, but we can't expect everybody to have the same sense of humor. If two people are in the same sense of humor, they can understand, but some people are very serious, right? Even if you joke with them also, they're not amused. We take it very, very seriously. Yeah. So here, and especially something like this, right? I mean, Krishna could realize that Rukmini had so much of love for Krishna and that's when the impact happens, isn't it? When will you lose your consciousness? Because you have invested so much of your emotion and love and everything that you can't even think of separation from Krishna. So Harikatha, like the gopis' separation from Krishna, Rukmini's, even the thought of separation from Krishna. So these are all things. Even when Dhruva Maharaj, when Krishna appeared in front of him, and then finally he said, Dhruva, you've done 6 months of such intense meditation. Now you'd ask me, what do you want? Then Dhruva Maharaj said, when a diamond like you is in front of me, I have realized that I've been all these 6 months, I have been doing such intense meditation from broken glass pieces. What is the value of all that? When you, the supreme diamond, Krishna, you are in front of me, I don't want anything. Varam Navacha, I don't want any boon, nothing, no boon, nothing. I don't want anything. This is enough to see you. So here you can see that when you're in the presence of Krishna, this is what happens. We don't want anything else but Krishna. So Krishna is naturally so he could understand, she has taken him very seriously. Krishna could understand, and her extreme anxiety over immediate separation from him, she had fallen into this condition. And Lord Krishna is naturally very affectionate towards his devotee. What is he called? Bhakta Vatsala. Someone who always cares for the welfare of his devotees. That's why Krishna says, Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. I'm your best well-wisher. I'm your one who really loves you the most. And that's the reason why life after life, even though people may ignore Krishna, Krishna is still sitting in everyone's heart. Arjuna says, like, how do I know, Krishna, that you are much older than the sun? How do I know? Krishna says, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tav Arjuna. Arjuna, you and me have passed so many lives. You have forgotten all the lives, but I can remember, Arjuna. So like that, we are slowly coming, by the mercy of Prabhupada, we kindly slowly build up again our relationship with Krishna. But a lot of people, they have forgotten this relationship with Krishna, right? They've forgotten that that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He's the one who's sitting in everyone's heart. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hrideshi Arjuna Tishtati. That Krishna is sitting in everyone's heart. Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu is the life behind all our life. We've forgotten that. So Krishna has come to remind us this. So here, Krishna is again, now you can see that how Krishna is reciprocating. What is he feeling towards Rukmini? His heart, Krishna is naturally affected towards his devotees. When he saw Rukmini's condition, his heart immediately softened. So you can see that Krishna may lift the Govardhan hill with his little finger for 7 days. But at the same time, when he comes to his devotees, his heart melts like butter. And this is what we've seen. He's stealing the butter-like heart of his devotees also. At once, he became merciful towards her. The relationship between Rukmini and Krishna was like that between Lakshmi and Narayan. And therefore, Krishna appeared before Rukmini in his four-handed manifested Narayana form, manifestation of Narayana form. Can you imagine? Krishna now gives this darshan of a four-armed Narayana form. So how fortunate, isn't it? Can you imagine? We've seen that the latest time when Krishna gave his four-armed Narayana incarnation was before Muchukonda, right? When Krishna, he taken Kalanemi into the cave, and then he just makes sure that Muchukonda, that he just opens his eyes and suddenly he sees Kalanemi in front of him and he gets burned. So at that time, Krishna gave his manifested his four-armed Narayana form, right? So now again here we can see that Krishna is giving the darshan as a four-armed Narayan form. He got down from the bedstead, lifted her up by her hands, and placing his cool hands on her face, smoothened the scattered hair on her head. Lord Krishna dried the west breast of Rukminiji with his hand. Understanding the seriousness of Rukmini's love for him, he embraced her close to his chest. Can you imagine what a beautiful, this is the heights of Harikatha, where we were, as Prabhuji was earlier mentioning, we are not just thinking about Krishna as some supreme Brahman, or we are not thinking about Krishna as the supreme this thing, but we are going to the most deepest level of understanding Krishna as the supreme person. We are going to such a highest level of not understanding the supreme Brahma, but we are understanding the one who's behind the supreme Brahma, the supreme Brahma, this cosmic manifestation. We are going behind the supreme person who is the cause of this cosmic manifestation. Brahmano hi pratistaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya hi dharmasya sukasya ikantikasya cha. Krishna says, the supreme Brahman that you're talking about, Arjuna, I am the basis of that supreme Brahman. So for this Mayavadi philosophy, where they say that there is only supreme Brahman, Krishna is telling that I am the basis of the Brahman. So he's making it very clear that Supreme Brahman is not the ultimate, but understanding the Supreme Person who's behind the Supreme Brahman, this manifestation, this cosmic manifestation, that is what is important. And we not only know about that, we are diving into the scuba diving into this beautiful pastimes of the Supreme Lord, who's the basis of this supreme cosmic manifestation. And we can see that. And the most beautiful thing we can always understand, if we link with Bhagavad Gita with Bhagavatam, is Krishna says, Ananyas chintayanto ma ye jana paryupashite tesham nityabhyuktanam yogashevam vahamyaham. Where we just now mentioned that Krishna is always thinking about welfare of his devotee. And Krishna says this, one who is always engaging in bhakti towards me, ones who are always meditating upon me, for them, I preserve, I reciprocate their love. And I keep what they have, and I preserve what they have for them, and what they lack in their life, I will provide it them. So Krishna, the most important through this Leela we can understand is how Krishna is reciprocating to the love of his devotees. As we always mention, Krishna is called as Atmarama, which means he doesn't need anything from this material world. He is the cause of all the causes. He is behind all this material world and spiritual world. But still, in spite of that, he's reciprocating to his devotees, whether it's 16,000 princes who have begged him to marry him, or whether he's talking about Rukmini, seeing the beautiful, loving relationship and how much of love that Krishna is. So because many times we can see that in the coming paragraph, how Rukmini is speaking from her point of view after she, wakes up, from this consciousness. But now the immediate reaction we can see is that Rukmini is completely lost her consciousness because she lost herself. Her mind is totally disturbed with all this, the words of Krishna, and she's become bodily very weak and she lost her consciousness. And now we can see Krishna is taking her in her arms and just embracing her and kind of like lifting her with the hand. So this is how. So we had to understand that God is not some supreme person sitting somewhere and with no feelings or anything, but God is someone who's very, very personal. And through these Leelas, we can understand that Krishna is always, we can develop that faith. Avasya Rakshabe Krishna Viswasapalana, that faith that Krishna is always there for us, that he is always reciprocating. Maybe he may not appear to my material eyes because my eyes are material. How can I see Krishna with my material eyes? But through the eyes of Srimad Bhagavatam, through the eyes of Krishna Katha, I can see Krishna. I can see how Krishna can reciprocate. This should be our mood of devotion, that through this Krishna Katha, that I can see how Krishna is and how we can reciprocate to this thing. So the Supreme Lord is expert in putting a thing reasonably for one's understanding, and thus he tried to retract all that he has said before. So whatever Krishna has said earlier, just in a jokingly way, or just to see, pull her leg, in today's world, we call it as pulling your leg, just trying to jokingly see what's the reaction of the other person. He is the only resort for all the devotees, so he knows very well how to satisfy his pure devotees. So Krishna, we had to, through this Leela, we can understand that Krishna sometimes does some small tests, like how he is testing the gopis by disappearing in front of them, and how he is testing Devaki and Sudhava by going away to Nanda Maharaj. So all of them, in the mood of separation, the love is shown by the pure devotees. And this is what even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing us, that the love for Krishna is shown in the mood of separation. Krishna, where are you? I'm always in the mood, Krishna, where are you? Where are you, Krishna? I always want to see you. This mood of separation, the love that we exhibit in the mood of separation, is the whole essence of Krishna Bhakti, which we can understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy. And this is what we can understand. How we can understand that philosophy is through this Harikatha. That this is how, that in the mood of separation, we can understand even the Rukmini, in the thought of separation, what is our mood, how much he is lamenting. Same thing like when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, he was always crying out, Krishna, where are you? Where are you? I cannot live without you. What kind of a devotee? I'm not able to even see you. So that's kind of a mood. That is how you show your love towards Krishna, in the mood of separation. The gopis are showing, Rukmini Devi is showing, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing. So this is the way in which we have to relate to Harikatha, that this is the mood that we have to develop, that we may not be able to see, but we have to see. And through the elevated, pure souls, devotees like Rukmini, we can understand that, yes, Krishna doesn't keep quiet. He reciprocates to the feeling of all his devotees. He's the only resort for all his devotees. And he knows how well to satisfy. So he knows. So even though sometimes Krishna may test us from time to time to see how much of devotion that we have, in fact, even the material energy, Daivi Hayesha Gunamaya, because the material energy is so strong, it doesn't allow us to you transcend that in order to go to Krishna Bhakti. But Krishna test from when we pass these tests, then we can see that Krishna was only testing us, and then we can get closer to Krishna. So after that, Krishna again gets even more closer to his devotees. Sometimes he's only testing his devotees. Through the lives of all the pure devotees, we can see that they had all been tested in so many different ways. We can see if you go to the land of Bharat, Krishna, India, so many great devotees, they've been through extreme pain and everything. But throughout the pain also, they were enjoying inside the deep love they had for Krishna, because that was what made them more happy. Haridas Thakur could have given up, even though he was being lashed by so many times, so brutally he was punished in so many different places in the market. Still, he did not give chanting of the holy names. 300,000 times he would chant every day, because there is something which is relishing within his heart, for which he is not ready to compromise for at any cost, even if being belted by the Muslim rulers for so many times. No matter whatever you do, he is not ready to give up time. Why? Visaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam param dristva nivarte. Param dristva. Because all these pure devotees, they have tasted the pure nectar of Krishna. They have pure nectar of Krishna's association, the nectar of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. They have all tasted so much. Param dristva. When you get a higher taste, then even whatever problems in your material life, whatever pains that come in your material life, nothing will come in the way of a bhakti life towards Krishna. So I want to just stop over here. So he was just telling that Krishna understood that Rukmini could not follow the statements he made in a jokingly way. So now Krishna is again going to speak to Rukmini, but I will just park that aside for next week's nectar, because the nectar is flowing, but we are just putting a small dams in between and continuing week after week. And we're still going on. So next week we will cover, and we will see like how beautifully Rukmini also responds to Krishna. For everything that Krishna says, Rukmini is responding. So we can see that this beautiful leelas of Krishna with his devotees will develop so much of love, that with that love in our mind, we should chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Then it becomes more deeper and deeper. So I just want to stop here. I want to just open, because just past 9. Sorry, just taking a few more minutes, just 10 more minutes, but just to come to a conclusion on this. Any realization, corrections, any other points to add? Ramana Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Well, yeah, as usual, your commentary is wonderful, and the Leela is wonderful. So many nice things that you're adding to it and talking about. Krishna is being sarcastic. He's joking, but Rukmini's not taking it as a joke. But this is part of Krishna's nature. Actually, it's called Hasya Ras. Is one of the 7 subcategory rasas, and that's the rasa of humor. So, but anyway, this is a wonderful pastime, and it's a very serious topic. And Krishna's mood is one of trying to get a good smile and a laugh. But anyway, next time we'll see how Rukmini's response. Anyway, it's very nice.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I think one of the important things to understand, like for people who think that God is someone sitting out there, someone who's very serious and who's punishing if you don't go for him, we can see that, like as you said, Hasya Rasa, that's another rasa of Krishna. And we all have a bits of tiny pieces of each in one of us, because it's there in the original person with Krishna. This Hasya Rasa also.
In the West, we have the Judeo-Christian Abrahamic traditions. And, there's one God, he's basically old man up in the sky, and he's really pissed off. Look out, don't get on his bad side. He's like really angry. You have to be God-fearing. So, these stories shed a whole new light on our understanding. Who is this personality of God? Is he always mad? Is he always angry? Is he always pissed off? What happened?
Absolutely, Prabhuji. Okay. Yeah, it's knowing God at a very personal level, the intricacies, because you wouldn't know about a king. Like, the people know about a king, that king sitting somewhere in Buckingham Palace or something, and maybe this is what he's doing. But only the people who are serving him at a close this thing, they know that, okay, this is what the king jokes. This is how he jokes with his personal associates. So like that, through the pure devotees, we are getting to know complete insights into this is how God is. He's not that serious like old man that you say, that in some of the tradition that they believe, but he's just showing the lighter side of Krishna, that he's always playful.
I sometimes elaborate. Of course he's pissed off. What do you expect? He doesn't have a wife. He doesn't have a girlfriend. So here we see with Rukmini, that's his consort, that's his wife, and they're having joking, loving relationships. But with the Abrahamic tradition, God is there, but hey, there's no wife. Of course, I'd be pissed off too. I mean, in other words, they're the Abrahamic conceptions of monotheism is incomplete. Our conception of bi-monotheism, meaning yes, monotheistic, but ultimately it's bi-monotheistic. It's Lakshmi Narayan, Rukmini, Dwarkadish, Radha Krishna, Sita Ram. There's always that male-female dichotomy and the exchange of love. That's complete.
Absolutely, Prabhuji. There is because this human, when we, as a human level, we can understand love, like the emotion between two people. That we can understand. And Krishna is showing through his expansions also. This is what happens in the spiritual world also, which is what is happening a perfect reflection in the material world. Like I was just saying, Radha Krishna eki atma duhi dehadari anyone velase rasa ashwadana kari. Radha and Krishna eki atma, but appearing in two different spiritual bodies in a loving relationship. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is mentioning in Charitamrita.
It's very deep, very sophisticated, very esoteric, spiritual technology. I like to call it spiritual technology because we have so much technology surrounding us. This is spiritual technology, but it includes male and female for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. How can we relate otherwise? We think that why would God be punished? Why would he be like some bachelor sitting over there? But no, there's a beautiful Leela. There's a beautiful personality of God, and he comes with his concerts, and we worship the divine along with the divine energy. In fact, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, I tell the people, many people are not even aware that when I say, do you know the meaning of Hare Krishna Mahamantra? That Hara is actually another name of Radharani. So we are praying to Radharani first.
No, they don't know that.
They don't know. They get surprised. Like, oh, we didn't know that Hara is another. It's actually so we are first praying to the divine energy of Krishna to help us reach.
Radha Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radha Radhe. Radhe Rama, well, not Radhe Rama exactly, but that's the internal pleasure potency and Ram. You could say Sita Ram, Ram Ram, Sita Ram. Radhe Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radhe, Sita Ram, Ram Ram, Sita Ram. It's the same thing.
Yes.
We don't say it that way, but most people don't make that connection that Hare is a vocative form of Hara, which is the female form.
Absolutely. So wonderful to get your insights and so wonderful actually. So we are so blessed actually. We are belonging to the Sanatan Dharma. We are encyclopedia of knowledge. Sometimes I keep thinking like, where would our devotional life be if not for Prabhupada, who's shown us this 360 degree of worship, of mantra meditation, bhakti yoga. He's given us everything on this platform. And we are so fortunate, Prabhuji, to have your association to give us some insights like this to progress on our bhakti life. We feel so honored and so happy, humbled by your association. I feel always thankful every day.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Amaga.
Okay,
Prabhu.
maybe someone else wants to say something.
Yeah, anyone wants to say something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, very beautiful, Prabhuji. Nice to hear all the Krishna Katha. And it's very pleasing. I don't have much words to describe, but it is so pleasing. Maybe Induleka Mataji, Gayatri Mataji, Ashwin Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Such a wonderful class, Prabhu. Thank you so much. In the beginning, my internet was a little bit like weird. I couldn't hear when you spoke.
Okay.
Yeah, Prabhu. And yes, Prabhu, it was so beautiful class today. I'm so in ecstasy right now. The things which you said, like about how a lot of references from Bhagavad Gita today, and which was so nice. And also when you talked about Dhruv Maharaj, when he says that what in front of me, there is diamond in front of me, and I'm looking at the broken glass pieces, which is so true, which we do normally in this material world. Like, we are always looking for just small material benefits, which are not worthy looking for. But that was the best part today for me in the lesson, in the sangha, whatever it is called. For me, it's a class because I'm learning. It's a class for me, Prabhu. So thank you so much, Prabhu, and yeah, wonderful class, Prabhu. Thank you. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, Gayatri ji. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, I mean, this is a platform for all of us to share realizations, corrections, and enlighten each other and support each other. And this is why it's so important to listen to Gajendra Moksha, whether Dhruv Maharaj, so to understand their feelings. What did they feel when they seen Krishna in person? So we can understand that for people who are like totally confused, like what's going to happen, where are we going to go? No, the devotees are setting a direction that when every Krishna is sitting in everyone's heart, and when that devotion is pouring out at the right time, Krishna manifests in front of them, which is what happened. Dhruv Maharaj, Krishna is sitting in Dhruv Maharaj's heart. When the devotion matured, Krishna appeared in front of him. Similarly with Narasimhadev, he is there in Prahlad Maharaj's heart. When the devotion matured and the time came, he appeared in front of him as Narasimhadev. So like that, Krishna is sitting in everyone's heart. And when the devotion matures at a certain time, by his own grace, he'll appear in so many different forms, which is what he's showing through our pure devotees. So thank you, Gayatri ji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Yeah.
Indulekha Mataji, anything you would like to add? Devi Dash Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. This is Ashwin here. Thank
Prabhu,
you for your class.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
As always, really nice to hear.
Thank you.
And as other devotees have said, the stories are so beautiful. And I personally, I can say that I can hear this story like every evening. And the eagerness will not decrease at all.
Ashim Prabhu is a doctor, and we can imagine, like, in spite of so many balls to juggle, and you're just still taking time for the Harikatha. And this is something which is Krishna's grace is showing up on you, Prabhu. That's why you're saying that you can enjoy every day, or the only devotee can enjoy every day. So that's a sure sign of such a wonderful devotee that you have been. So thank you, Prabhu, for your association.
Hare Krishna,
I also want to thank.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
We are very privileged to have you to explain to us in the deep meaning and how we should get examples. But we are not on the same level as Rukmini Devi, but still we can learn from there. So thank you, Prabhuji, for coming with all these Bhagavad Gita verses and explaining to us very nicely. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for your association. Gayatri ji and Undulekha joining all the way from, they joined from Canada. So feel so happy that how Prabhupada has given us this global community of Krishna consciousness to bring all of us together. And this is how we can make it into a small Krishna world, a transcendental boat where we are all sailing together in this transcendental boat on this big ocean. But we are sure that our boatman is Krishna, and he's going to take us to back to his place. Yeah, sorry, Ashwin Prabhu, were you saying something?
Are you associated with the Soho temple or more with the Watford temple?
Watford more, Prabhu. I mean, I do go to Soho as well, but more. My service is more in Watford, so I'm weekends I'm there only.
Okay.
Sundays is more of Kirtan. We do 4 hours of continuous Kirtan in the afternoon, and Saturdays it's like singing Aarti, giving Bhagavad Gita, preaching and all that. So yeah, you know that, right, Prabhu? That's how we met.
And the Krishna consciousness societies in the London universities, are they coming from Soho temple or Watford temple?
Krishna Conscious University. I mean, you could find devotees spread, Prabhuji. I'm not sure about Soho temple, like how they're. We had the School of Bhakti, where we have all the different courses, and so the devotees could come from anywhere, actually. Primarily, but I think you have some devotees who are dedicated to Watford and Soho, but of course, even though you still find Maharajas and everyone, they go to both the temples, So it's one community, so it could be, you could find people preaching in both places. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for your association. It was so wonderful. I was just enjoying the nectar. And
Nagaraj Prabhuji.
Nagaraj Prabhu, were you saying something?
No. Fine. I think we are covered. Sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So
Thank you, everyone. Once
So can we all request a three unmute and request all the devotees to kindly unmute and do three loud Haribols to Shyam Prabhuji, please.
Haribol, yes.
Hari
Bol.
Ram Prabhu,
Hari
Haribol, Ram
Bol.
Prabhu, Haribol,
Hari
Sham.
Bol.
Thank you so much. Feel
Thank you
so
so
humbled
much,
by your
Prabhuji.
association. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha कृपा सिद्धिभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत वैष्णव वृंद की जय। Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Have a Krishna conscious night, everyone. See you tomorrow morning for Japa session at 5:30 a.m. Hare Krishna.